Welcome to the daily English news program on Azərbaycan Television with the major developments of the day. I'm your host, İlham Məmmədov. President İlham Əliyev addressed the Azerbaijani people.
Dear people of Ağdam, you are no longer internally displaced. You will return to your native lands. This was stated by President İlham Əliyev. Congratulating on the liberation of the Ağdam region as a result of the trilateral statement signed on November 10th, the head of state noted that for many years Azerbaijan had been trying to resolve this issue by political means, but precisely because of the position of Armenia, this issue had not been resolved. In this case, the decision to settle in the conflict by military means was a legal right of Azerbaijan, and our country defended itself in accordance with international law. Calling the liberation of Ağdam from the occupation a historical event, President İlham Əliyev noted that in terms of population, Ağdam region was the largest among the occupied regions. Before the occupation, 143,000 people lived in Ağdam region. At present, the population of Ağdam region is 204,000. Stressing that the enemy destroyed all infrastructure in all occupied regions and villages, including in the Ağdam region, the head of state said, "We will restore these lands, these cities, these villages." President İlham Əliyev said that the Armenians believed that after this reconstruction, the Azerbaijani population would never return to these lands. They were wrong. They do not know that in the heart of the Azerbaijani people, in the soul of our people, native lands live and will live forever. The head of state stressed that the state will provide assistance to citizens to return there, and the restoration of Ağdam region will take a special place in the future plans of the state. Stressing that houses, buildings, schools were destroyed in the territories left by the enemy, President İlham Əliyev, calling it an atrocity, noted that by doing so, the enemy disgraced himself to the whole world. Ağdam region returns to us without a single shot, without a single martyr. This is our great political success, the head of state said. President İlham Əliyev paid tribute to the memory of all our martyrs who had given us this victory, expressed gratitude to their parents who raised such brave sons. President İlham Əliyev emphasized one more point. During the military operations in the Armenian army, there was massive desertion. The number of deserters exceeded 10,000. Armenia itself confirms this, because the so-called invincible army is actually a group of robbers, and they could only fight against civilians and unarmed people. Khojaly murderers, other killers who set fire to our villages, killed our people, civilians, cannot be considered military personnel. Stressing that this occupation will lead Armenia as a state into the abyss, President İlham Əliyev said that disgrace to the whole world, Armenia will continue to live with the stigma of a defeated country, and noted that the ideology of the state, dependent from political, military and economic point of view, is also created on a lie. We not only restored our territorial integrity, we also broke the back of the Armenian fascism. We saved the region from the Armenian fascism, saved the world from Armenian fascism, the head of state stressed, stating that we would never allow them to raise their head again. President İlham Əliyev appealed to the representatives of some Western countries who in the first days of the war wanted to set conditions for us, threaten us, and slander us. As the head of state emphasized, they saw that we are not one of those countries that bow our heads to someone, and I am not one of those leaders who will tolerate a word from someone. My answer was more than enough and as necessary. I will continue to respond, said the head of state, stressing that after the victory of Azerbaijan in Armenia, ruled by dictatorial government, big problems arose and repressions against members of civilian society were being carried out. President İlham Əliyev criticized international organizations that did not react to such cases and tried to hide it. Concluding his appeal, the head of state said that the days we are living through today, the moments will forever remain in the memory of every Azerbaijani, because we are writing history, a new history. We are writing a new glorious history of our people, our country. This is the history of victory, the head of Azerbaijani state said.
First Vice President of Azerbaijan, Mehriban Aliyeva, shared a post on her Instagram page on the occasion of the liberation of Ağdam. The post reads as follows: "Dear compatriots, I sincerely congratulate you on the liberation of Ağdam region and convey my best wishes to each of you. May there always be peace, stability, tranquility and security in Azerbaijan. May every house in our country be filled with light, kindness and happiness. May God protect our people, our homeland and our president. Karabakh is Azerbaijan." The state flag of Azerbaijan is already waving in the center of Ağdam city. The Azerbaijani army units, which entered Ağdam district on November 20th, conducted several activities in the territory. Mine clearing of the terrain was carried out at night time to ensure the safe movement of the army units in Ağdam direction. Engineering work was completed and the roads along the route of the movement were prepared for use. Currently, appropriate measures are being taken to deploy the military personnel and armored vehicles of our units in the territory. The liberated from occupation Ağdam district came under the control of the Azerbaijani army. The national flag of Azerbaijan was raised in the center of Ağdam city. The national anthem was performed and a report was delivered to the President of the Republic of Azerbaijan, Commander-in-Chief of the Armed Forces İlham Aliyev.
Azerbaycan bayrağı Ağdam şehrinde dalgalanır. Yaşasın Azerbaycan, yaşasın Canavar Başkomandan. Karabağ Azerbaycan'dır.
The Juma Mosque and its territory were cleaned up by our servicemen. Azan was recited in the mosque and Friday prayers were held. Celebrating the liberation of Ağdam city, our citizens held a car rally in several areas of Baku. During the action, which started from the Heydər Əliyev Center, those marching in the direction of the city chanted slogans such as "Qarabağ is ours, Ağdam is liberated." People killed far from the front line as a result of Armenia's military aggression will be recognized as martyrs. This is reflected in the explanation of the resolution of the Cabinet of Ministers number 453. From September 27th up till now, the Armenian armed forces shelled the positions of the Azerbaijani army along the entire front and residential settlements. The Armenian military also shelled the Azerbaijani cities of Naftalan and Ganja, situated far from the contact line, killing dozens of civilians and leaving hundreds wounded. The necessity of making a change in relevant legislation has emerged in order to consider civilian citizens who were killed on the aforementioned territories in connection with the existing situation developed in the Republic. The consideration is a martyr of civilian citizens who were killed or went missing as a result of the Armenian aggression in regions bordering with Armenia and in Karabakh, as well as the civilian citizens who were killed or went missing as a result of the Armenian military provocation on other territories of the country, has found its reflection in the decision. An article describing Armenia's military provocations against Azerbaijan, specifically missile attacks on Barda city and killing of civilians, were published in French Paris Match magazine. A journalist who had been in the area hit by a missile in Barda noted that the place turned into a bloodbath, that he saw killed Azerbaijani civilians. The author emphasizes that he could hear the "Qarabağ is ours" slogan everywhere. It stressed in the article that Armenians expelled the Azerbaijani population from their homes and even destroyed their cemeteries. The journalist also brought to the attention that electricity was being supplied to the territories liberated from the occupation and new life was beginning there. Next meeting of Azerbaijani Parliament was held. The consideration of 13 issues were in the meeting's agenda. These were the bills on amendments to the constitutional law on the foundations of Azerbaijan's economic independence, amendments to the law on the establishment of orders and medals in connection with the establishment of orders and medals, on the victory in the Patriotic War, as well as on the title of Hero of the Patriotic War. Azerbaijani President adopted a draft law on naming Kushchibaba village of Khojalı region as Baharli and Sakuri village of Khojavand as Hunarli. The meeting also discuss the biased position of the France against Azerbaijan, which runs contrary to the mandate of this country as the co-chair of the OSCE Minsk Group. 3,169 infections with the novel coronavirus were registered in Azerbaijan. 1,404 people recovered after treatment and were released home. 26 people who had earlier tested positive for COVID-19 died. The overall confirmed cases in Azerbaijan have reached 87,163, with 60,889 recoveries and 1,079 deaths. The number of active infections is 25,215. To detect new infection cases over the past day, 13,618 tests and overall 1,576,060 tests were conducted in Azerbaijan, the task force under the Cabinet of Ministers reported. That was all for the day. Thank you for being with us. Goodbye.